Hi, everyone. John Michael Coppola here, and welcome to the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast, where we chat with the actors, directors, choreographers, designers, producers, music directors, lyricists, playwrights, and all the artists who make the Chicago area theaters come alive. We're so excited to have you here with us today. But before we get started, we just want to remind you to please like, subscribe to, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues who you think would appreciate the conversations we're having. We'd be so grateful for your support in this way so we can continue to bring these stories for years to come. Thanks again for being here, and now, curtain up on today's episode. Today's guest is the theater director at Niles North High School in Skokie. She received her Bachelor of Arts from Indiana University in theater, comparative literature, and psychology, and then attended Harvard's Arts and Education Master's Program. Her first 3 years of teaching were in music appreciation and theater at Holy Trinity High School, where she directed their first 2 productions in over 15 years. The following 5 years, she taught English and coached debate at the University of Chicago Charter School's Woodlawn campus, and in 2014, transferred to Niles North High School to teach English and start their speech team. She eventually took over as the theater director at Niles North and has been a staple there ever since, directing various productions such as School of Rock, The Prom, and The Addams Family. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Megan Baskin. Now let's go to the top of the show. Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And I'm excited to have you. You're our very first high school drama teacher on the podcast. And I've been looking for somebody to have on that would touch on that demographic and that sphere of theater makers. And so I'm honored that you're here.
Thank you.
So listen, we always ask our guests the same question at the very top of each podcast. And that is to please tell our listeners a little bit about where you grew up, a little bit about your background, but most importantly, what your first theater experience was. And so I hand it off to you.
I love that. So I am from Skokie. And yeah, I'm from Skokie. I was born and raised here.
I had no idea. Amazing.
You know that? Oh yeah.
No.
I love that. Actually, one of the reasons that I came back to our school was to have the opportunity to give back to the community. That kind of gave me such an appreciation for the arts. And I love that. And I love that about our school too. Like a lot of alumni feel that pull. But yeah, I'm from Skokie, born and raised. I studied music and theater pretty much my entire life here. I played piano and flute and voice and like have a very rich background in that and really do believe in doing a lot of things like learning for the sake of learning and enjoying all of that. Yeah. I studied at Indiana University. I studied theater, comparative literature, and psychology. Came back, worked a whole bunch of jobs. And for about a year, I worked 3 jobs. I was working at Northlight. I was working at Northwestern, and applied on a bet to Harvard's Arts and Education program and got in and studied arts and education for a year. It was one of the best and most exciting experiences of my world.
Hold on, I'm going to stop you there. Did you say on a bet? You applied for it?
I did.
So you collected on this bet?
I did. One of my coworkers took me out to lunch. That's
Fantastic.
What it was. It was, because I was like,
and you got accepted, which is the best part.
I was. I'm a public school girl. Like, there's no way. Like, and any school that wrote me back, I decided to apply to, and it was such an interesting program. And it really checked off all of the boxes for me of like, I don't necessarily want to be confined to doing education in a classroom.
Yeah.
And so I felt like this would help me do whatever it is that I wanted in the fields of theater and education. And so that was where I got my education background. That's not where I got certified to teach because I didn't think I was going to teach in a school, actually.
Okay.
So then I worked and I taught theater at a Catholic school. Funnily enough, because I'm not Catholic. So I taught at a Catholic school. Then I went to a charter school before coming to Niles North.
And what was your first theater experience, either as a participant or as an audience member? It could be either one.
Well, okay, so I think the first time I really fell in love with theater was, I was doing D219 summer theater because they did a summer theater program, and I was in Jesus Christ Superstar,
Oh, that's a
and I
biggie.
remember, hilariously enough, this moment, I probably think I maybe had a crush on the guy that played Jesus or something like that. It was like a community theater production,
Yeah.
and I remember being, like, one of, the ensemble members, and he reached out and touched my cheek, and I was like during this song, and I was like, I just felt this, like, electric connection about having that connection with another person.
Hmm.
Right? Like, whatever that was, and that moment was, I think, the moment that I fell in love with, what theater can do and, like, how it can connect people and bring people together and
Yeah.
to have a shared experience, whether adult or kid at the time, right? Like, it just is such a great moment for people to share.
Are you the only one in your family that pursued a career in the arts?
No, actually, I am not. My brother is a musician.
Oh,
He's a jazz musician in the city of Chicago. My dad is an architect. And my mom used to do a lot of graphic design and worked in sound.
gotcha. So there's a lot of creative minds in your
Yeah, there
family.
are a lot of, we are definitely an artistic family.
So what inspired you to teach theater, particularly at the high school level? Because that's something that wouldn't be for the faint of heart.
No, no, it's really not. It's really not. To be honest, Tim Ortman who was my high school theater teacher, who is the person really that inspired me, both to really pursue theater, but then also to teach theater, to be honest, right? Like, watching the way that he was able to bring out the best in people,
Hmm.
and watching the way that he talks about this so nicely, like connecting to something that is larger than yourself,
Hmm.
right? And so doing good for other people is something that has always 100% been my like, that is my main motivating force, is doing good things for other people
Yeah.
and finding a way to create that space and help them find what lights them up,
Hmm.
what makes them the best version of themselves. And, like, sometimes that's just in challenging themselves to do something that scares them just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it is turning them into the best artist if that's what they want to be.
Hmm.
So that's, like, he's the person really that showed me how important that is and what that can do for some people.
Now, are there any other influential people in your life that you would attribute your career trajectory to?
I mean, definitely. I mean, obviously, I know I mentioned that I have an artistic family,
Uh-huh.
but really, I'm, like, very, very grateful for my parents. I think that, and I do this a lot of times at our end of the year thespian banquet. I think it's so important for students to thank their parents because it is a lot of time away from home,
Mhm.
and a lot of, being the parent of an artistic child, like, has a lot of ups and downs and roller
Mhm.
coasters, right? There are big feelings involved, and, I think it's important because young people are able to do that when their parents support that
Mm.
activity,
Yes.
right? Like, that to me is just absolutely critical. So I certainly thank my parents because they've always fostered, a love of the arts, for me. That they've made that, they didn't blanch that that was going to be the life path that I chose.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's really critical and important. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Shariba Rivers, who I met and worked with at, my charter school, the University of Chicago Charter School, Woodlawn campus. She is also a theater artist and educator, and she came to theater later on in her world. But she, I mean, she just helped me become the best educator that I could be. And it was amazing to be able to share our love of theater and talk about that and see that. And now she's pursuing, she's a working actor in the city of Chicago. So it's wonderful.
Has she been to Niles North? Is she doing like master classes or anything with the kids?
No,
Or?
I keep trying to get her over for some things like that, but she's genuinely like, she's busy. She is busy. So it's hard to find that time.
Yeah, I can imagine that's difficult to schedule in, particularly around everyone else's schedule with the kids' schedules as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell us about some of the things that are the most rewarding part of watching them discover theater, and maybe even some of the more challenging things as well. How do you navigate those types of things?
I mean, sometimes all of the hard is also what's all of the good, right? Because those hard moments lead to such great growth and transformation.
Mm.
Um, sometimes it's a lot of drama that can happen.
Yeah.
Really, I think just like, I'm so sorry. We're going to have some visitors.
Oh, it's okay. Hi, Kitty.
I think the greatest part, first of all, is I get to make art with cool young people. And I get to have them discover ideas, like, it's like the first moment that they feel like they got it, right? Like watching them challenge themselves and then rise to that occasion, watching them do something that they're scared to do and then being successful at that. There is nothing that can build a young kid up better than recognizing how powerful they are and realizing that they can do it. I have seen young people who were almost not talking. Like they were quiet, they were shy, they were scared of their own voice. They didn't want to take up any space anywhere. And then within 4 years, right, being able to be a lead in a production, right?
Wow.
That's absolutely incredible and absolutely incredible to see. And I see that on all sorts of levels, right? Like, sure, maybe you'll get a chance to see it in the 4 years of growth, but also getting a chance to see it in my like intro level class, in theater workshops, seeing kids that within a semester are almost brought to tears because they cannot stand up in front of their peers to do something.
Yeah.
Right. And then, within 2 months, they're like, I want to go first. Like that alone is huge and incredible.
Yeah.
So that's really great on like such a small level. It really is. It really is.
No, it's a huge breakthrough for them, and I'm sure for you as well, to watch that and to know that you were a part of that. I'm curious about something. I know there's this whole generation they're calling now the COVID generation. Kids that can't get out of their devices or don't know how to have conversations because they learned remotely for most of their lives. They didn't have a lot of external communication in the formative years when they were during the pandemic, right? I'm wondering, did you have any challenges coming out of that with kids that maybe have social anxiety or any social?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about some of those challenges.
I mean, teaching has changed so much and teaching theater has changed so much. And in even the last decade, leading up to the pandemic, it was getting a little bit like the willingness, the risk taking, even the creative play. Like kids aren't watching what we might have watched. They're not necessarily even watching things that have plot. Right? Be watching a vlog or a video. So like that's changed things. And then
TikTok is
100%.
15, 20 seconds and there's no plot.
After the pandemic in particular, like facial expressions. Like,
oh, sure.
No facial expressions. Scared of talking, scared of speaking, scared of talking out loud. It like really scared of human connection. That's really been a challenge. And that has just doing theater after the pandemic was a challenge. Doing theater during the pandemic was a challenge. But navigating the young people and like those fears and anxieties are amplified. They really are.
Do you have any advice or tricks that you can impart on how to help them quell those fears or help get more connection out of them with their peers?
Yeah. I think it's so important to recognize, especially again, I'm not like the tried and true kids, right? Like they're in it, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to push very hard to push them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um, but the kids that aren't, really, and it takes so much patience, um, to you have to recognize every little step that they take that is just 1% better, right? Like, oh
Mm.
my gosh, this kid sat in the corner of the class, in the corner of the theater while everybody else was in a circle and would not join us, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Then being able to the next day just be like, I just want you to come sit on the same level as us,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And like sometimes just waiting a week for that to happen, right? And then sitting a level. And then they start to join the circle. Even if they don't say anything.
Yeah.
Um, when we'll play a silly game, right? Like I play Kitty Wants a Corner with them all the time. But that game is about risk, right? And so one of the first levels and lessons that I do with them is, after we play for a little bit and they have to cross the circle, right? And if they don't get someone's spot, the person in the middle, like they have to be the next person in the middle, right?
Okay.
It's a game that you might have played when you were younger.
What's it called? Kitty in the corner?
He wants a corner.
Kitty wants. I don't. I'm not familiar with it. So,
I mean,
do you
it's
mind explaining what that is?
sure, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. All of the kids, they sit in a big circle. There's one person in the middle who is the kitty, and they go up to someone and they say, Kitty wants a corner. That person says, sorry, go ask my neighbor. And then while that's happening, people on the outside of the circle make eye contact with each other and decide, right, like silently through their eye contact to get up and switch places. The person in the
Ah.
middle has to try to get to one of their spots before they both get there, right?
Okay. Okay.
So it's like a silly game that is, objectives, obstacles, connection, crossing the circle, making a decision, committing to it,
Yeah.
nonverbal communication, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
And you notice really quickly when you start to play it, if you've got an adventurous class or not an adventurous class. And you notice really quickly when, like, if you've got a pretty decent game going, you'll see the kids who are like, nope, not getting up. I'm not going to play. You'll see the kids who are like, I'm going to play, but I think I'm being very clever because I'm only going to switch with the person next to me. Right. And they like,
Ah.
and so like, I'll stop them after we've played for a little bit. And I'm like, all right, when is this game the most fun? And they're like, well, when you cross the circle, right? It's like, of course, when you take a bigger risk.
Sure.
So then I ask them to raise their hand if they've taken a big risk. I'm like, cool, great. Have you taken a little risk, right? And then have you not taken a risk at all? I'm like, okay, so here's your challenge right now. If you have taken a little risk, I want you to take a bigger one, right? Whatever that means to you. If you have taken no risk, I just want you to take one, even if it's little. That's okay, right? So, like, really finding ways to help those kids that are really, really scared or really nervous to
Mhm.
recognize that they can be successful. They just, like, they don't have to do the big thing just yet if they're not ready.
Mm.
And so, like, finding ways to build their confidence like
Yeah.
that and just say, like, hey, listen, today, like, if your goal is that you want to, like, speak, like, if you want to be more talkative, all right, cool. I want to challenge you to ask one question every day. That's it. That's all I need you to do.
It's a nice parallel with life. You know, you don't have to do the big thing all at once. Just take one step at a time, for one day at a time, and eventually you can reach the goal. I really love that. That's a great little game. My high school theater experience wasn't anywhere close to what Niles North has, either in instruction or in like productions. So we didn't do any of that. So I'm just learning about it first time chatting with you. So I appreciate you filling me in on that. That's neat.
I mean,
Yeah.
I tell them, like, some of it, and, like, that is true after the pandemic, teaching kids how to play.
I'm curious, and maybe this was a direct result of the pandemic, or maybe just evolution of culture and social media, and maybe even just other entertainment that's out there right now. But do you find that there have been changes in the kind of stories that the kids want to tell on stage?
Yeah, I do. I think Ooh, that is actually because like I'm thinking about it in the world of theater, right? Like the
Right.
capital W, right? Which
Right.
absolutely think so. Um, I think I think young people wanna be a part of that and a part of that movement as well. I think finding their place to tell their story,
Hmm.
is and, like, whatever it is that is their story, that's their truth, I think that's been the biggest change. That idea of playing multiple parts or characters is actually something that is more challenging for them.
Different characters within the same play, or you just mean over the course of like a season?
Over the course of a season,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I have to tell you, that's one of the things that we really appreciate with the productions that you've done at Niles North, and we've experienced with both when Michael was in it and it's ever since he's graduated, is that the kids there really, some of them really commit to the characters that they are cast as. Like when we saw Addams Family, like the kid that played Fester, I mean, he was phenomenal. I mean, I think, is he a freshman this year?
Sophomore right now, but yeah, was a freshman
Sophomore.
last year. Isn't that wild?
I mean, really, I mean, such a crazy, eccentric role. I mean, the whole family is crazy eccentric, right? But to really like put yourself out there and go 110% with a character like that, I mean, he was just phenomenal. I mean, I don't want to say he was my favorite, right? Because I don't want to play favorites, but he was really
Amazing.
quite incredible. I mean, and that's not in any sort of realistic realm of being a high school kid. Like it's nothing. It's the furthest thing from being a high school kid. So it's interesting to know that some of them can't really find a different character outside of themselves. I mean, it's all part of the learning process of
Yeah.
building a character. But to see a kid that young just be able to grasp it and run with it like that was really wonderful to watch. So bravo to you and and that child as well. So I hope.
Oh my god, that child is such a like that kid is such a great character actor, right?
Yeah.
Like will come to me and be like, "All right, what's the voice for this character?" Once I find that voice, like I'm like, but that kid, like that is also an advanced thought,
Yeah.
right? Like that is a really I talk to my students, especially when they get into the more advanced levels of class, that like my job is to help them understand like, the text strategies. And then when they get to the more advanced levels, that there are so many other ways to go about finding your character, right? We do a unit with voice, we do a unit with physicality. And we salt and pepper that throughout all of the classes, but just that transformation for that kid, and like you see kids that are amazing at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kid just like knew that right away. I was like, I need that voice for that character, and once I get that, I'm good.
One of the questions I often ask actors we've had on the podcast here is what types of tricks do they have in their actor's toolbox to help them develop character, to find that character? And they all have different answers because it's different for everybody. But to have a high school student already jumping into that world and searching for those tricks already is amazing to know that he's thinking on that level.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
we do try to today one of the things that I'm going to be doing is we're going to look at their costumes and what they're going to be wearing and how is that going to inform their movement? How is that going to inform, like especially when you've got a group and you've got the time, because time is always the hardest part, right? Yeah. To really dive into other, parts of acting strategies.
Yeah.
Right. And give them that whole toolbox, right? Like, how can we explore? Like, how do we explore Laban, right? We do. We explore viewpoints. We explore some of those ideas and like, how does that relate to your character?
So great. And I'm so interested to know that you are doing things like Laban and viewpoints with them in high school. I didn't know that was part of what you taught because, my son, Michael, who and the podcast audience does not, he was doing it extracurricularly, but wasn't taking theater classes there. Yeah. He was just sort of doing it, after school. So it's interesting for me to learn that because I didn't know how much you were teaching them there, which is wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, when they get to that advanced class, like, and they can repeat that. So I change that curriculum all the time. Um,
And
all the
are you in charge of your own curriculum there? Like, are you handed you've got to hit these milestones over the course of the year by the
those milestones were like yes and no. Because we inherited kind of our schedule,
Gotcha.
or like the curriculum, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but we really do review it regularly. Pre-pandemic, during the pandemic,
Mm,
the Niles West theater teacher and I got together and we're like, all right, how are we going to reinvent this?
mhm.
Right. And then we reinvented it again after the pandemic. And then we did it again. And I'm, just constantly thinking about like, what are these classes about? And as students change, again, like Niles West has a new theater director. And so I was just talking to her yesterday about it. Like, what are the goals of this class? Right. And how does that work with the students that we're getting right now? Do things
Mm,
need to shift? What are we seeing? And so, like, reviewing that every couple of years is so important. So, there's a lot of freedom within the curriculum, um, but at each of those levels, and each of them then inform the rest.
Thanks for letting us in on that because I'm not an educator, so I did not know.
No, of course, of course. Like, I am really lucky. It's, like, different than teaching English, but, like, there are state standards for, theater and theater education.
Oh, again, something I did not know.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it would be mandated by some larger entity outside of the school, but it never dawned on me that the state standards for teaching theater, as there should be,
Yeah.
like everything else. What advice would you give young people who want to pursue theater professionally, and or even advice for the teachers who guide them?
Yeah. Okay, first, I was thinking about this question actually a lot because, um, like, it's about the work. Make it about the work.
Mhm.
Make it like you're gonna face a lot more, like, you have to be okay with a lot of uncertainty, and that, like, the way that you can handle a rejection, right, or the no, or not hearing or not knowing, that you cannot take that, personally,
Mm.
right? Like, it is my favorite lesson for the directing students to learn when they see people audition and they see
Mm.
people who have awesome auditions but are not right for their one act. And that is the best moment that I can say, remember when you were upset and you thought that this was about how bad you were? Like, no, not at all. It's a
Mhm.
matrix.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's a really important thing. I would tell them, know yourself, right? Know the roles that you will excel at and market yourself, right? And know the roles and then reinvent that all the time
Mm.
because you have
Mm.
to reinvent that as you get older, right? Like you have to continue to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Know how to do everything. I mean, you're a perfect example. Know how to do everything,
Yeah, or
right?
at least not know, but at least try, learn and explore how to do lots of different things. Yes, I
Yeah,
do hear you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you
yeah.
for acknowledging that. I try.
You do.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
We're gonna do something that I don't do with every guest. I did it with my Jeff nominees, but we're gonna do a little bit of a lightning round. I may actually throw one or two additional questions in there. Feel free to expand on the answers to the questions. First one is, what is your favorite Chicago theater to see a show in, either big theater or small theater?
Oh man, I love going to Steppenwolf. I
Ah,
do. I love going to Steppenwolf. I love their work. I love their daringness. I love their big theater and their small theater and their special guests. I love all of it.
good answer.
I love all
Uh,
of it.
what is a dream play or musical that you'd love to direct with your students someday?
Okay, so I actually was able to direct, like assistant direct it, but I would love to do it again at some point. But I love In the Heights. I love it. I
Oh,
love that show. I love that story. We did it a long time ago, and
we
it was
saw it because I knew the drummer in the pit for that show, Jack
ah
McCreary. His father is Craig McCreary, who's the guitarist in my band. So when he said, "Oh, Jack's doing in the Heights at Niles North, you guys have got to go see it," I was like, "Okay." And that was actually our introduction to the Niles North productions there, and it was fantastic. So I can imagine, and it's a great show. So I can imagine why you had so much fun. Now, wait, you assistant directed it at North, or did you had who was the director of that one?
Tim Ortman.
Oh, I guess I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that show, I mean, the back of the program, that was one of my projects, where, our school is so diverse.
Yeah.
And it, when we talked about what this show was about, we wanted to really embrace that diversity that is in our school.
Mhm.
And so all of the students told us where they're from, where their family's from. And the song Bandera, right? We had all of the flags that represented the students in our cast and where they were from. And we did cast, crew, pit, because it's such a celebration of that strength, right?
Mhm.
And so I would really love to do it again. I would love to be able to do it again and partner with our Latinx club and really, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Well, you're the one in charge of the program. You can do whatever you want.
I know.
If your school had an unlimited budget, then maybe the answer is going to be in the Heights again. But what? I don't know. Actually, this is a different question. If your school had unlimited budget, what's the first thing you would purchase? Or first thing you'd invest in?
Well, right now I'm literally thinking that we need to update the sound system in the black box.
Okay.
That is a thing that I would want us to do.
Got it. So that's earmarked for the big donation
Yes.
that you get you're manifesting for this school. That's amazing.
Oh, actually, you know what? I would get us more storage.
Some more storage?
I'd get us more storage. Yeah. 100%. I mean, that is a commodity at our school, and we are getting out of space.
You have to start recycling stuff.
We do.
Yeah. Or you know what you could do? A lot of theaters do garage sales or costume sales and stuff like that. Like the Goodman, I think, just did one. If you got anything lying around, have a costume sale or a prop sale. If you could bring one Broadway star to lead a workshop at your school, who would it be?
Okay, Jordan Fisher, I think, would be awesome to bring in.
Amazing.
Right? So much appeal, so much talent. I feel like that is the perfect choice for our students.
Absolutely. Yeah, Michael is a huge fan of Jordan Fisher. He follows us on Instagram. When he went from Hadestown, then he went to London. He was following him all over the place. So yeah, good choice. Good choice. What's your favorite spot in Chicago to unwind after a long tech week? Because teachers need to unwind too.
Yeah, we do. God, my home. At the end of the week, I'm really tired. Teacher tired is another kind of tired in life.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It's so embarrassing to say, but after tech week, you're up at 6, 5:30 in the morning, and you're at school until 11 p.m.
Yeah.
to deal with a whole other set of things to do. So I'd say home and in bed.
Totally acceptable answer.
I wish I was cooler than that.
No, you don't have to be cool. You're a teacher. Teachers are cool. It's inherent in your profession. Are there any other questions that you wish I had asked you or anything else you want to discuss before we wrap up?
Oh, man. I just want more schools to support theater. I think it's a thing that is harder and harder in our world. And, it has so much value. It is so much value. Whether you are training to be in the profession or whether you're just doing it to learn how to connect, right? Businesses, I get calls all the time from former students who are like, oh, my work asked me to take an improv class, right? These are highly sought after skills, and they are really good to have, and they do teach you the value of being able to collaborate. And that is whether you're doing that as a being an artist with the capital A, or if you are just not doing that and you're working in the business world. These are sought after skills that everybody wants and needs.
Yeah.
And is more important post-COVID, I think, than ever to have. So
Yes.
I hope schools continue to support their theaters and support their theater programs. And it's a hard thing for a lot of schools to understand.
Yes.
So.
Agreed. So tell me what shows you have happening at Niles North this year.
In February, we've got a nice nostalgic family favorite, Wizard of Oz. That's our musical.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so that'll be February 27th to 28th. And then we round out the year with my directing class. They get to do the Festival of One Act Plays.
Great. And where can people learn about getting tickets for all of these shows?
They can get tickets at www.nntheater.com.
Well, a couple of quick anecdotes before we wrap up. First of all, when we were searching for a home here, I was very busy performing in the show that I was doing downtown, so I didn't have, unfortunately, the time to commit to looking for a place for us to move to. So I was basically on Rachel's shoulders, and she settled on Skokie largely because of the school system here. We had not yet known about, well, I shouldn't say we didn't know, but we had suspected that the arts were very strong in the school system, because when we first moved here, there was a big sign on Niles North that said, the banner said they had won like some government award or something that for being the best theater, whatever. And we literally would see it and drive by and go, oh God, let's hope that they can maintain that standard until our kid goes to this school. So first of all, you have, and so we're grateful for that. Secondly, there's that old adage that's saying that luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And so just a quick anecdote about Michael, he'd always played drums in the school band and never wanted to perform. I won't go into like the many times he said, I don't want to perform. And then you decided to produce School of Rock, which was a family movie that we enjoy, a musical that we enjoyed. And he came home that one day and he said, I think we're going to audition for the musical. And Rachel and I, like, our heads exploded. Couldn't believe it. And he had the best time, as you know, and I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional.
I know, I am too.
As you know, he's now pursuing arts administration. And he wouldn't be on this path if it wasn't for you. So I want to thank you for doing what you do for your students, which you've done for our child. And it's one of the reasons why I have this podcast, is because I want people to know the impact that teachers like you have with our kids and with the theater community at large. So I want to thank you for all you do. I want to thank you for being on the podcast, being my guest. I'm glad that you're only 5 minutes away and that we can have this friendship even after my son has graduated, and keep a communication about all of these topics. So I appreciate it. Sorry to make you emotional, but
no,
I didn't want to forget to mention that.
But it is why I do what I do. I do it, I tell my friends that when they're like, why are you there so much? And I was like, because I want parents to know that their kids are loved, cared for, and it's an honor to be a part of that. It really is.
Well, we're honored to have you as an educator here in Skokie. So thanks so much for all you do. Thanks for joining us at the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The Chicago Theater Makers Podcast is a production of Spirit Art LLC, and our podcast theme music is by Paul Langford. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please drop us a note at our website, ChiTheaterMakersPodcast.com. That's ChiTheater, makers with an S, podcast.com. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us as much as we enjoyed spending it with you, and we'll see you on the board soon.